welcome to our celebration dinner of the top 10 of the She Leads contest. It's my pleasure and my honor to welcome you, ma'am. I welcome her Excellency Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Kiran Bedi. Let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you, ma'am. I've always been an admirer of your courage, your indomitable spirit, and your resilience, and I hope that some of that catches on among the top 10 this evening. And what an incredible morning we had at the IIT campus. Do you all agree with me? It was simply superb. And just to introduce myself to those of you who don't know, I'm Kavita Emmanuel, founder and director of Women of Worth, and it's been a pleasure to work with the British Deputy High Commission and the Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industry in doing this campaign called She Leads. And as you've already heard many times, I just want to introduce this campaign for the benefit of those who haven't heard about She Leads, with the intention of empowering women who can lead change within their specific professions. The British Deputy High Commission in Chennai, in partnership with the Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Women of Worth, aimed to recognize aspirational young women through a nationwide social media campaign titled She Leads. And I think we went beyond social media. The first phase was the quiz phase on social media, and many around the country participated, and we filtered it down to about 100. The second phase was to present an essay or your dream project. And all of you, yes, presented that as well. And one of my favorite parts of the campaign was the final phase, which was the interview when we met all of you. And that was an incredible experience to see all of you with such passion and, such courage and the dream that you have, and you look ahead to the days ahead of you. And we just want you to know that we are there with you. And just don't give up, don't look at glass ceilings or leaking pipes or whatever it may be that is in front of you. Just reach for the stars. And I want to congratulate you again this evening for being India's top 10. Let's give them a big hand. I just want to now hand over the microphone to Bharat Joshi, the Deputy High Commissioner of Chennai, to give us the opening remarks.
So I won't do any opening remarks because basically I'm just a warm-up act. But I will just say this has been a really great day. We've had some really, I felt quite energized and inspired by the events of this morning, and just hearing those 500 women and learning from the kind of superstars that we had on the panel, the superstars and me, but those female superstars that we had. This is a particular honor as well because we had young up-and-coming superstars, I think, this morning. We have with us now this evening someone who's no less a superstar, who has been through and had to manage many of the challenges that we were being asked earlier today by girls who were sort of 18 to 24, 25. And I was looking, before I came down, just looking at your career, and I hadn't realized the breadth of your career. And one of the things that struck me was not just the headlines, first female police officer, for example, but was just the way in which you had actually not just managed adversity in your career, but there were occasions when you had actually looked for adversity. You had chosen to go into jobs that nobody else wanted to do because they were too tough, and had turned that challenge into an opportunity and done so much to change the environment in which you were working. And we were talking a lot earlier, for example, about women's security and safety and some of the work that you did around reducing those kind of crimes against women. So it's an absolute honor to have someone like you here today. I can't think of a better person to help us do what we're trying to do, which is inspire young women to show them that they can become leaders, that they can become, to paraphrase Gandhi, they can become the change that they want to see in society. So we are so grateful to you for having taken the time out to meet these people, because they are the ones that we want to become those agents of change in the future. So thank you very much on behalf of us. Now we're going to get this very informal. So I'm going to try and be Mukund Padmanabhan from the Hindu and do he's very good at doing this audience thing. So I will just warm up, I think, by asking you a few questions, and then we will open it up very much to everyone here.
We're not getting to see most of them. How do we get to connect? I'm not able to see half of them.
So what we'll do is we'll make sure when they ask questions, they stand up and they introduce themselves.
No, but how do I reply? I hardly see them.
We will make them stand up. We'll make them dance for us.
This week got to stand up.
Please.
We stand up.
Done. Wonderful. Well, look, I'm going to start off just with a warm-up question, I guess, which is, you've been a leader for a long time, with all due respect, but for many decades now, and I think leadership styles have changed in that time. How would you define your personal leadership style? What do you think leadership is about? It's a very simple question. It sounds like a simple question, but it's probably a very complicated one. How would you define your own leadership style?
And every day, what do you want? That's what you do. What do I want every day? I want to be better than what I did yesterday. Or I want to make the difference today. And why do I want to make the difference? That's my own thinking. So it begins internally. So it's for me, every day internal. It's an internal choice to make the day, whichever I have, A, for myself, better. And secondly, if I'm in a position of larger reach, make it better for those whom I'm serving for. So this is leadership. So it doesn't begin as a theory. It doesn't I cannot label it, what kind of leadership this is. But for me, leadership is first of all internal. And that's your everyday choice.
And there was a lot of discussion this morning about confidence. You know, as a leader, people expect you to be confident all the time and inspire confidence in them. Where does your confidence come from?
Again, it's a choice. But confidence is practice. When you play a tournament, I've been a tennis player of my time. I played a lot of tennis in Chennai as a school girl, as a college girl. The Amrit Rajs and the Ramakrishnas of the time were all from Chennai. I played a lot of tennis with Vijay as a junior and Ramanath as a senior. So it comes by practice. It comes by doing, not reading, not listening, but by doing. So, but listening takes you to doing. So if today's talk is going to take you to doing, then the confidence you will get for yourself. I cannot transfer confidence, but I have no pen drive that here it is, stick it on and you get it. There is no such concept yet of borrowing confidence. It only comes by acquiring it and practicing. Remember one thing, and it is yesterday's confidence which gives you confidence today, but today's deeds give you confidence for tomorrow. So there is no holiday in learning confidence.
Okay, and then in your career, it seems to me that you've always tried to do the right thing. There have been times in your career, I think it's fair to say, where doing the right thing has actually put you in the firing line. I mean, where actually you've made powerful enemies. You know, if you'd have taken an easier path, you may have ended up in a different place. Where do you get the resolve to be able to continue to do the right thing, even when doing the right thing has sometimes has involved personal sacrifice?
That's a part of the foundation. If your foundation is already with right kind of mortar, how do you destroy it? So if your upbringing through parenting, through growth, it's your foundation, that's your origin, as I said. If your origin is strong, and then your growth is built on the right origin, why wouldn't you have a strong structure? How can you explain you got such a strong structure? Because its foundation is strong, and you maintained it. That's what it is. Human body is also a building. It has a foundation, and it has a structure, and then it's maintained. So whatever I have today is coming through my roots of a foundation which came through very wonderful home, very good parenting, which I got, very wonderful family which I had, remarkable environment of growth I had, brilliant school with wonderful sisters and nuns, wonderful university and college, but I continue to grow in it. So I got to believe that that was the right thing to do. So I don't have a choice. I don't exercise a choice of doing the wrong thing. For me, doing the right thing is the only choice. Because that's me. And I will, God with the Almighty's grace, never choose anything which is not right, whatever be the price. Because if by chance I make a blunder and choose a wrong thing, who's paying the price for it? Me, myself first. Because as I said, leadership is internal before it's external. And I have to go to bed with myself every day. So what am I sleeping with? With what kind of guilt? I don't want to sleep with any guilt. I want to sleep free. I put the pressure on the others by doing the right thing, not on myself. On the contrary, if I do the wrong thing, I would put the pressure on myself. I'm very selfish.
That's quite a brand. Okay, I'm now going to open up for questions from the floor. Can I just ask that when you ask a question that you introduce yourself just as you do, so that the Lieutenant Governor knows who she's speaking to. The floor is yours.
My name is Harshita. Yeah.
I could guess.
So I'd like to ask you that you are an inspiration to millions of us here. So who do you look up to, or who do you take as an icon?
I look up to the goodness around. Whatever inspires, the goodness inspires me. Sacrifice inspires me. Valor inspires me. Righteousness inspires me. It could be a reading. It could be a person. It could be an incident. It could be a film. It could be... that goodness inspires me. And even negativity inspires me to fight it back. So negativity doesn't depress me. It challenges me. Because I'm looking for everything positive. So I won't say so-and-so is my role model or my inspiration. My inspiration is every day. A good article which I may have read charges me, inspires me. It's nutrition, as I say. If you go to my Twitter handle every morning, one of the first things I do on my Twitter handle is called Good Morning Nutrition. I hashtag it. So if you go back to hashtags of my morning nutrition, that's my nutrition. So I nutrition myself, self-nutrition. So who am I inspiring? I also do self-inspiration, self-charging, self-battery charging.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, which makes you more self-reliant, isn't it? When you take charge of yourself to charge yourself for nutrition, are you dependent? No, you're independent.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Olivia. So my question for you is, when and how did you decide that you wanted to be the officer that you became? So how did that dream come into your head? Or how did you decide that you want to be the officer?
Well, the dream was, as I was growing up, to be totally self-reliant as a woman.
Okay.
Not to get married off as a doll and see my parents seeing me off. I didn't want my parents to see me off. I hated that. I dreaded it. And I used to see as a child growing up, daughters being seen off. I was very scared because I wanted to have parents link as long as possible. And that is what truly happened. Even when I didn't see myself off, I drove away. I drove off. To be self-reliant as a woman grew with me because I saw far too many dependent women. Dependent women being enslaved. And I did not want to be enslaved at any cost by anyone. I wanted to be a free citizen, a free woman, a free person who enjoys freedom. That's why I make my choices by self-assertion. It's all coming out of sense of freedom. Therefore, I hate to be dependent on a colleague or a senior or a junior. It's not dependence, it's interdependence. So therefore, when I was growing up, it grew with me one day to grow up to be independent and then make the difference. Policing came, I was a sports girl, I was a national NCC cadet, I was a very strong outdoor girl, and I naturally was not fit to be behind a desk. I had to be ahead of a desk. So that's how policing came very, very naturally. And at that time, policing was the power for justice.
Yeah.
You want instant justice? Go to the police. You want instant relief? Go to the police. You want instant medicine? Go to a doctor. But if you want instant safety, then you go to the police. I want it to be that, where if you come to me, I'm able to say, yes, I'm here to provide you. And that's what I've done all my life, so far. Anybody who comes to me, even now, I have a solution. I'm able to provide safety. I cannot say I cannot do it. I've never ever said, I can't do it. It's not within me. I will say, sit down, let me find the way out. And I find the way out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I just follow up on that, though? I think it might be quite interesting for all of us. I think you gloss over it. You make it sound so easy. I don't think in 1972 it can have been easy to make that choice, that decision to enter the police force, to become India's first ever IPS officer. It cannot have been as simple a choice as you make it sound. I think it might be quite interesting just to hear some of the challenges that engendered.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Let me answer this question.
Okay, sir. Sorry, madam.
Bharat, for a woman to make it the way I did is very easy. I'll tell you when and how. If your family is with you, then the world is with you. Your family is with you, the world is with you. The universe for every girl to make it big is the family. And in that family, mother and father to be aligned and not going different directions. If you have the family with you, your world is complete. But if your family is not with you, then is the challenge. For me, my world was complete the moment I entered my home. That's what I'm saying. That was my foundation. It didn't matter to me what my relatives said, what my grandfather said, what my uncle said, what the people said. If my home said, and they said, we're proud of you, my world is complete. My strength and energy and conviction, everything came from my home. Every girl, particularly a girl, the universe of every girl begins with her parents. And that was my strength. And therefore, once they faded away, they've built me already. I cannot change till I die. Hopefully not. What I'm saying is, it is very easy if you have the parents' acceptance with you, and they are the ones who every day giving you the wind to fly. But if you have to fight against the wind from home, to me, that's a more courageous woman than me, who's done it despite odds within the home. To me, that's more courageous. Find that woman to be rewarded, not me.
Hello, madam. Good evening. I am Ramani Bai from University of Madras. I would like to know, ma'am, from you, what is the impact of culture on especially women who are going outside the house? Because I am, in my family, third generation women coming out for working. I am the third generation. So I do a lot of, mental block when I grew up, because my mother was a central government employee. So I could see the difference between a culture and also the, the concern of the neighbors, especially men in those days. Now I could see it has been changed a lot. What is your comments on this, ma'am?
It's what you believe in. Are you looking for social acceptance, or are you practicing your own belief? If you're dependent on social acceptance, then you are handicapped. But if you are independent in believing what you believe is right, then you're independent and you are empowered. Either you disempower by being dependent on social acceptance, or you empower yourself in what you believe. So its choice is yours. Disempowerment or empowerment. And empowerment is your self-belief. And if you're doing ethically, morally, spiritually right, then why are you looking for acceptance? Just do. Others may not be able to do what you can do. They want to hold you back. But if you fly out, they will look for you. They will one day need you. So you set the new culture by your own belief.
Thank you, madam. And one more thing. What is your message to our younger generation, so that I can pass it on to our students, the coming 8th, ma'am? What is, because I could see your activities in Facebook across the people, across the age, you have been interacting. So I don't think so very few can be with them across the culture, across the age group, everything. So what is your message, ma'am, to the, at least, especially our university or college going students?
Every one of us has the child, adult, and a senior within us. Keep all the three alive. Keep the child in you alive. Keep the adult alive, and keep the senior alive. All the three alive. When you want to be a child, be a child. When you want to be an adult, be an adult. That's the experience which situation tells you. You can play with children, be one of them. Be a child. Yes. And you can be an adult, play with the youngsters or connect with the youngsters. And yeah, you can be a senior the way I am right now. I cannot be a child right now. But if you were all children, I would have said, let's sing a song and let's dance. But if I was an adult, I'll say, let's go play. Why not play hockey or play football? So I would take them out, right? Yes. Or maybe tell them a story which will educate them. But right now I'm playing the senior role. So I think the child and adult and senior is in every one of us. Keep it alive and become situational. I am situational.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm Shreya.
Yes, Shreya.
So my question is about your opinion on moral policing of late. And moral policing, and specifically with the police force. Recently, there was the incident with in Mumbai where a number of couples in this hotel were forced to evacuate. A number of situations where the police force has sometimes been very insensitive about changing dynamics of, and men, women interacting in public spaces. What is your opinion on how that sometimes it tends to be? There's a lot of very sexist and very offensive remarks that are charged at women who perhaps hang out with men later in the evenings and all of that. So how do you feel we can prep the police force to be perhaps more gender sensitive? And
remember, police is always responding to very complex situations. Mm-hmm. There is always going to be two perspectives, whether they're doing it the right way, the right thing, or the wrong way, or the wrong thing. So policing is not simple. It's not as black and white. There are lots of shades of gray. And therefore, policing is a very challenging job today, right? So therefore, you will always have, police did a great job by doing this, and police did a horrible job by doing. As long as police passes the test of law, police is on the right side. But if police breaks the law itself, police is on the wrong side. That's why you have written laws, not unwritten laws. So when police action is according to the law, whether you think it, whether it was justified or not, whether it crossed a limit, that's for the courts to decide. We can all have a view. We can all have a view. So therefore, when you talk about these instances like this, sometimes you never know what kind of complaints are coming to the police, and police is responding to those complaints. What kind of public nuisance is it, and what are they responding to it? Something which may be fine for you, it may be public nuisance for somebody else. For you, a big noisy music is a lot of fun, but for some it's public nuisance. So if police goes and shuts that mic up, you'll say, oh, what a spoiled sporter. They're all spoiled. Specifically
on the issue of gender, because do you think that we can equip our police forces to be a little more gender sensitive? Because even in cases with I'm a law student, and so especially working with domestic violence cases and things like that. Do you think that we should be equipping our police force to be more gender? Why not? Sensitization has to be an ongoing training program. Mm-hmm. Sensitization is a part of life. And police needs that kind of regular sensitization. I've just finished, why I couldn't join you in the morning was, we had a passing out parade of 98 women recruits, along with other 100 plus men. And those 98 women recruits through the last 8 months I've been, we linked them with NGOs. We link them with a lot of sensitive areas so that they get sensitized to suffering and pain, because this is what they're going to serve. So this is one of our own way. It's again by doing, not by telling. So we attach them with fishermen's colonies, with slum areas, with NGOs, old age homes or children's homes. Go and see how it goes on, so that when they respond to such like complaints, what all perspectives would they have in responding? So it's a constant training, and it's not once in a year. In fact, they need to be retrained so that they don't get desensitized. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Mritala. Ma'am, I would like to know, you were into a profession where you had to face so much of mental pressure, and being a woman, maybe, I'm not sure if I can use that term, that being a woman, it is quite difficult to be in a profession which was quite male-dominated, and then when you entered into that profession. So how did you tackle all the pressures that you were going through? So if you can share that.
By drinking lots of glasses of water. But I must tell you, we need very strong inner energy to wash them down. Because going with the flow is the easiest thing to do. But going against it, particularly when you think you cannot accept the way it's going, it requires a lot of inner strength, a lot of inner energy. And it requires a lot of inner preparation. And it's a lot of inner consumption. But how do you keep it, keeping away from your gut is the real challenge. So which means that you got to skill yourself. Skill yourself personally, and that age is now. This is your age to skill yourself to take stress. So stress management has to beginning now. Now, all that only by reading a book you'll only understand these are the ways to do it, but practicing it. Yoga is very vital. Yoga is not Hindu. Yoga is a way of life. Meditation is not Hindu. Meditation is a way of life. So I would urge you, all of you who are moving up towards greater leadership, learn to handle stress now, because you are going to be asking a lot of it. I have it every day. And I have to figure myself out, how do I deal with it? How do I deal with something which is obnoxious, something which is unethical, something which is hostile? I'm dealing with hostility. I'm dealing with obnoxiously, I'm dealing with sabotage, I'm dealing with corruption, I'm dealing with crime, I'm dealing with enemies. I'm dealing with invisible people who look for me, love to hurt me in any way. But I know here are the enemies around. How do I deal with it? Why? And why must I deal with it? And why must I take this challenge? Because that's the right thing to do. Now, with the right thing to do, how do you deal with it? You may not have friends and relatives, or you may not have ever even sometimes somebody to talk to you, talk it out, to say, what do I do? You figure it out. So I would say, no leadership is complete. Earlier you learn these personal skills, the better. I learned it on the tennis ground. How do I win a match when I'm almost two sets down, or it's 1-1? How do I win it? How do I come back from 2-5 down, match point down? How do I come back? Playing games enabled me to fight back, earn a stamina, a persistence, perseverance, right? But if you've not played competitive games like I did, you'll have to find your own skills now. So I would say no leadership training is complete. And remember, this is not once in a while. You have to practice this skill and hone this skill on a regular basis. It's absolute internal cleansing. Because if you choose the path of leadership, you will have to take in a lot of nonsense. And how do you deal with nonsense and nonsensical people? There will be many. And remember, at that time, your friends will not be by your side. They will be neutral. They will watch. If you're a winner, they're with you. And if they're loser, they're lost. You won't even find them. That's the test. That's the real test, is who is your real family? Who is your real friend? So you asked me a very important question. And remember, learning the skills of adversity management, discomfort, negativity, fighting back must start now. It's not going to come through books. Books will give you an idea, go and practice it. And learn your own methodology. Everybody would have their own method. Somebody would sing. Somebody play music. Somebody would paint. Somebody will go for a walk. Somebody will go to a gym in the morning. Somebody will do yoga. Somebody will do a prayer. It is everybody to himself. There is no one, but you must learn how do you handle adversity every day. And it's the more you go up, the loner you will be at the top. But you will be the only one. If you want to be the only one, then you're not a loner. You're the one. So if you think you're a loner, then you're not ready for leadership. You're not alone. You're the one. But that one doesn't go easily up. He's right. It's not easy. It's everyday management. How do you bring your energy? How do you recharge your energy and not waste your energy, but invest your energy? That's the skill. Acquire your skill, find your own methodology. What relaxes you? What makes you happy? What makes you keep doing? You have to search. You find your own way. I found mine. You find yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll just ask a follow-up question, if I may, which is something we haven't really talked about. We've talked about leadership as if we're all going to be leaders, and that's a great aspiration. But you're right. I mean, leadership is invariably quite a lonely place to be. And the higher you get, the more lonely it becomes, and the less people you have to confide in. And I think, again, looking at your career, there have been times where the natural support networks haven't been there for you. So, for example, you've been in positions where you haven't been able to have your family with you. You've been dealing with criticism, with attacks, sometimes physical attacks, from very senior people within the state in which you've been posted. Where did how did you find that ability to keep recharging your batteries and remain positive and to inspire and lead your teams under those circumstances where you were facing so much criticism, some of it more than just verbal, without those support networks? What was it that kept you going in those days?
Which farmer gets the best harvest? Does he get the farmer? He prepares the ground daily, doesn't he? He looks for the best seed daily. He plants it rightly at the right time and then goes and looks after his farm and tends it daily. Is there a holiday for a gardener? Let the gardener, you have to be gardeners of your life. I became, by profession, a gardener of my own life. I garden it. I nurture it. I water it. But it all depends what time it is. And sometimes it's just truly lonely. But I've learned it. It's an attitude. So if you develop an attitude, you develop that aptitude. But if you don't develop the attitude, how would you have it? So I would suggest that is why it is an attitude. That's why, since my attitude is so problem solving, so positive, not to give up, persevere, stamina, hard work, dedication, all these came, these are all nurtured. And they've been nurtured over years and years and years. I don't know when they started. I started competitive tennis, regularly playing tennis from the age of 8 and 9, and continued to play competitive tennis, traveled around the country, even around the world, as a teenager, sometimes all by myself, as a 15-year-old getting off an Allahabad railway station, all in the middle of the night, all by myself, with tennis rackets, but dressed very neutrally, so that I could protect myself. I found my way. So what did my parents do? My mother, they threw me into the swimming pools many times. Say, go survive. Knowing I'll survive, not that I drown. So they developed that confidence in me that you will survive. Go swim yourself. So friends, earlier you learn these skills, the better. The later you learn the skills, you'll start reaping it then. So be your own gardeners, gardeners of your own life. Look after your garden every day, the garden of your mind, the garden of your thoughts. It's as I continue to say, leadership begins internally. It's not external. External leadership is a very high position where you sing a national anthem. That's external leadership. But who's sitting on it is internal. So therefore, all these things have to be every day. Look at the garden, as I said, a farmer. Why does he grow 3? Some farmers have 3 harvests on the same land, and others not even have 1. He has 3 harvests and high quality. Some will not even have 1. Why? Because he does it regularly. And he respects his soil. He looks after it. He waters it. He nourishes it. and he tends it, and then he becomes its own security keeper, and then he enjoys it, and then he revels it, and he puts it back with nutrients in the right way. That is what life is all about. This is what life cycle is. So why would somebody who's not tending their garden and get not even one harvest feel jealous of somebody who's getting 3? Because that person is working 3 times extra. Not that because he wants more money, because he thinks that's his value. He adds value to his own life. Whenever I do my bit, I'm adding value to my own life. Why did my parents invest so much into me? Why did I go to the best school? Why did I play so much of high competitive tennis? Why did I go through 35 years of Indian policing at this stage to say thank you? Why? I now owe it to my parents, who may be seeing me from above, to continue to strive. So it becomes a habit to strive. But remember, there is no shortcut to hard work. You may be talented, but if you're not hardworking, your talent will not grow. The key is talent plus hard work. Not hard work only, but hard work only will also help, because talent can be acquired. But hard work, talent with hard work is something, with skills of personal management. Basically, you're coming to personal management. That is what the way forward is.
Thank you. I'm Saraswati, Secretary General of the Madras Chamber of Commerce. What do you think about the increasing crimes against women, girls, and particularly children? And this comes in the way of equal opportunities if you look at it on a broader sense. We have been working with the corporates. When we fight for the night shift for women, because it's an equal opportunity, we shouldn't probably deprive her. This comes in the way. So what do you think? I mean, what do you think? Why is this increasing? Is it because the media is active, so more things are revealed, or is the value systems are going down? What do you think?
Re-educate the boys. Just re-educate. Re-look at their syllabus. Give them very special sensitization training right from the childhood. So that means change the language for boys. Change the language for girls. Unless you two take, at some stage they'll speak the same language. But to begin with, how do you uncondition the conditioning they're born with? They're being conditioned from home. They're being conditioned in school and college. They're being conditioned in society. How do you uncondition? The teacher plays a very vital role. So that means the whole syllabus. Your problems of crimes against women nahi hai. It's problem crimes by men. It's crimes by men. You need to work, why are they committing this crime? Not crimes, why are they committing crimes on women? Why are they committing these kinds of crimes? Let's address that. And secondly, how do women respond? So you have to train women to respond and prevent, and work on men to not to commit these crimes. So they need 2 sets of syllabuses. You deal with boys separately, but a stage will come when you will have more inclusive society where they learn to respect each other's strengths. And men and women both have their own strengths, very unique to nature. Both need to learn from each other and not compete with each other. But at the moment, what's happening is that the boys' conditioning is leading to what you see.
Hi, I'm Gopika Dhawan from Christ University, Bangalore. So my question is in continuation to what ma'am was saying. How do you deal with the unconscious bias that comes in a workplace? And in terms of corporate specifically, are there any policies that could be put in place to, address this issue of the unconscious bias that women face?
Workplaces must have networks. Workplaces are not isolated. And if you have a women's network there, and if you have a mentor there, that's a time to share. So if you have an invisible bias or so then if you have a female group or you have a mentoring group, must talk. And if you can trust, then you're fortunate. Then don't keep it to yourself. Do go and discuss, particularly at this age. And that's why we must encourage inspired leadership within business groups. We must, across the board, also have networks. So not just within a business, and that's what many business multinationals have done. They've created inspired groups, coalitions of inspiration, by women. So coalitions of inspiration by women have now come together to share these issues and look for solutions. So that's a time networking helps. That means be part of women's inspired coalitions, where you are think tanks, but you also share your concerns and you look for answers. And then the experience will come in. So use networks.
Thank you.
I think this is part of that, and this was always about trying to connect and inspire and empower young women. So I think we're doing our bit.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Arundhati. My small question is that what is your opinion to parents today? Like, what would you like to tell them today? Like, how you were fortunate enough to get, amazing parents and to bring you up in such a way. What about people here and people who are bringing up kids today? What would your opinion be on that?
Realize the children's potential. Every child who's born in has a unique potential, is uniquely blessed with some extra quality. So therefore, if parents would allow their potential to be expressed and potential to be realized, they will never work all their life. They will enjoy their, if somebody like policing, I was very happy with outdoor, my parents let me be. Now, it's like being never at work, but enjoying work, whatever I do, because I like doing whatever I'm doing. Had I been held back and changed into no, you got to go into mathematics, or you go into engineering, I would have failed first year, because I have no mathematics in my head at all. I have humanities in my head. I'm a humanities student and not a mathematics student. But if I'd been forced to say, no, this STEM is important, engineering, science, etc. is more important, I would have run away from school. So this is what it is. Parents, let the children bloom, see the inclinations, help them find their own course, and let them enjoy life and realize it. They will always make the best of it because they are where they are comfortable in. Of course, you got to rough and smoothen the edges. That's your parenting. But do not make robots out of them.
Governor, two questions, if I may. One personal, one slightly larger and professional. So on the personal front, the things that you were saying about building your resilience really do resonate. I think that's really important. If I may, age brings wisdom. What would you have said to your younger self about how to cope with failures? Because I think as a young woman, that's the thing that I think perhaps inspires more fear than confidence in people, the fear of failure. So what would your advice have been to your younger self and therefore to these young women? And the second question is slightly more serious, about politics. Statistics on women in politics is pretty dire. I mean, it's the same in corporations, it's the same, and that's not just in India, that's across the world. What can we do about that? How can we inspire more women, not just to become politicians, but to engage in politics and democracy?
Let me answer the second part of the question first. Let me tell you, I do not know, but the Indian politics is exceedingly masculine. It's of a kind you and many of us will not fit in at the moment, in the current juncture, till it gets civil and fine-tuned a little. So at the moment, it's hugely masculine. Right? Does it mean that we leave the ground to them? I don't know. But the question is, you cannot hit, you will blast your own head against it. You will lose your own, you will fracture your head, but you will not make through. Because the current politics in India is exceedingly crude and masculine. I'm sorry, there's no place at the moment for any many self-respecting people, self-respecting women have made a mark. I think they're exceptionally brave. Those women who made it into this kind of politics, despite all this masculinity and crudeness, I think they need a salute. This is one area I cannot venture into, because it's very, very crude for me to be even taking it, even breathing it a bit. So I've experienced it already, and I don't want to experience it again. And that has helped me. It was short and sharp, right? So as I said, we may have to, but where do the women go? Can we twist the tails of the politics? Yes, I have an idea. We can twist the tail. Do you know how? 90% civil servants should be women. If 90% of the women by merit, and that's where meritocracy, come by merit. Make it to the civil services. Do you know what? Politicians can do nothing then. Because if you have credible civil servants, professionally sound and truly leaders, they will be able to have the courage to tell the politician, it's not within your power. I can't sanction it. What will the politician do? He cannot do much. Because it's again the bureaucrats who pass the transfer orders. What India needs is meritocracy of civil servants who have the courage of total leadership and professionalism. And then you will automatically have them ousted out. Now, I'm looking at decades ahead. So now remember, even civil servants does involve an element of politics. Because politics is not the kind you see. That's not the definition of politics. It's, in fact, a new definition should be required. That's not politics. Because that's public life. So women in public service, coming by meritocracy, can be part of public life. Because bureaucrats are not supposed to be invisible. Bureaucrats can be visible. Is the superintendent of police not visible? Supposed to be? You'd be. Isn't the collector supposed to be not visible? Should be. Isn't the education secretary not be visible? Should be. Isn't the commissioners or municipal commissioners not be visible? Visible. Isn't that public life? And that has power of law, and it has a budget behind it. It has your power of duty to serve. The politician is dependent on you for grants, etc. Till you grant it, you cannot get anything. So I am now started to say, India's hope lies in meritocracy. And if right kind of men and women, more and more right kind of men and women, join this, and women particularly, if they make it in, I think they can show the mirror to the so-called politician. Now, your first part of what is that? What do you do? What was your first part? How do you deal with failures? Well, it's an audit. You have a financial audit. What about a personal audit? The habit of personal audit is self-talk. And I was trained to do a self-talk. Like when I was playing, my father used to teach me shadow practice. I didn't have a tennis court. I didn't have a wall. I had no coach at some times. And he'd say, okay, shadow practice. I'll say forehand and you hit a forehand. And I would keep jumping, keep footworking and doing a shadow practice and a drop shot and an overhead and a serve, etc. Shadow practice meant self-talk, self-playing. So I think it's important. That's another habit. If you learn at early habit, you do a self-talk. You lost something, analyze for yourself, where could you have done better? And then go back next day and see how can you move and wait for the right time to correct it. So self-talk is very important, as called self-audit. So internal audit is again the answer.
So, ma'am, the civil service exam, UPSC exam, is a difficult exam to crack. So, as a student, what were the challenges that you had? And did you have a tough subject or the subject that you didn't like? So, how did the challenges that you faced as a student?
I think the real challenges are today. During my time, there were no Facebooks, no Twitters, no emails, nothing, no television even. I think those were the real. Today, these are the challenges. Against this, how do you put this social network away? Media away? And then focus. I think that's the real challenge today you and me are facing. Our attention span on reading has gone so low. Even while reading an article, we want to quickly look at, see what's the new message on WhatsApp. So I think that's a real challenge. Challenges during my time, I had very focused time management. It was like my personal, how do I invest my time during the day? Where do I put in what? And there were no distractions. Today, there are far too many distractions, and you need greater willpower to handle those distractions. So I think challenges were higher then. That's how so I had no challenges. I had no distractions.
So did you have a tough subject or an area that you didn't like or anything?
No, I didn't choose those subjects.
Okay. Thank you, Mom.
Great, look, thank you. I thought that was incredible. It was quite striking. We try and run some leadership seminars like this for our own internal team, some of whom are sitting very quietly, hoping they haven't been noticed over there. But I think for me, this wasn't about women's leadership. This was about leadership in general. And there are lots of things. I think I've learned a lot actually from listening to you as well. I will say, I think that leadership is hard, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. I mean, men have the same kind of insecurities when they go into leadership. I certainly did, still do, actually. And you find ways to deal with it. I think it's harder. The point is, it's harder if you're a woman. It's even harder if you're a woman in England. That's what today is about. But actually, the challenges of women facing leadership are probably the same ones as men. It's probably a bit more clear. But I thought that was phenomenal. Thank you so much for having. I'm not going to say all of that again. I didn't. I think I was the only one who heard what I was saying. But that really was phenomenal. And thank you so much for having shared lots and lots of wisdom with us and lots of lessons for us. I mean, I think there are people in this room, I think, who will leave this room exactly how we wanted them to leave, actually, which is more connected, more inspired, and more empowered to go out and change India and help India reach her full potential on the global stage. So thank you very much for having taken the time. Can we just offer a loud round of applause, please, to Lieutenant Governor?
Thank you very much.